guys, welcome to another video. I just wanted to kind of talk about the state of the current Warzone meta right now. Just kind of go over what the best guns are, what to look out for, what to avoid. I get a lot of friends who don't play a whole lot or have some gaps in between the times that they do play, and they're always wanting to know, hey, what's the current meta? So I just wanted to go quickly into that. I'm not going to make a super heavy info video on different recoil patterns or time to kill or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to give you the rankings of the guns that I feel are the best. And the criteria I used to base that off of is, first off, what I get killed by the most. Second off, big time streamers, big time content creators, what guns are they using? What guns are they having success with? And third off, time to kill statistics. So that basically factors in if a player hits all their shots, how quick does that gun kill? If you want to check out more of those statistics, there's tons of good content creators out there that are making super in-depth videos. I watch a lot of JGod's videos, so I take a lot of his information into account. And he has some really good videos. He makes videos a lot better than I do, so that's why I'm just going to cover something quick, easy, just to kind of get you moving into a new game of Warzone and let you know what's good and what's not good. All right, so we'll go ahead and get into the ARs now. So the two best ones that I would say to go for are the Pharah 83 and the C58. Pharah 83 is going to be more forgiving for those newer players or players who are on console. Doesn't have a lot of recoil, pretty good damage, but nothing crazy, but very, very forgiving. The C58, on the other hand, crazy damage, a little bit more recoil, but still pretty manageable. So if you're on mouse and keyboard, definitely try out the C58. It's going to be much easier to control. AK-47 Cold War is very similar to that. Good damage, kind of a pain for recoil, but still really good. You can use it close range, long range, whatever you want. Xm4, another very versatile gun. You can use close range, long range, sniper support. Very, very versatile gun that you can use for an AR. You can also set it up as an SMG as well. A lot of these ARs can. The Cold War ARs are pretty insane right now. Okay, so now moving over to the SMGs, the top two are kind of interchangeable, just like with the ARs, Mp5 Cold War and the Milano. I know if you were playing a couple seasons ago here, and the Milano is actually good now. It's pretty crazy, but it did receive a very huge buff, and it's now very usable, top tier for the SMGs for sure. Mp5, definitely a closer range SMG. You can set it up for very good movement speed, very good hip fire. Super insane close range. The Milano, on the other hand, you can kind of set it up both ways. It isn't quite as good close range as the MP5 is, but for some reason it's super broken as far as the range goes. So you can almost set it up like an AR. There's no damage drop off compared to these other SMGs. So you can basically turn it into a long range SMG. Kind of fun, something new to try out, but it's very, very usable in the close range as well. LC10, Bullfrog, Mac-10, all good still. Kind of, not really much separation between those two. But one of the new guns that just came out in Season 4 is the nail gun. You have to do a special challenge for that. I think it's something like get 5 kills with special weapons in 15 different games. I haven't unlocked it yet, but I've picked it up a handful of times, and it's pretty good. It's definitely going to cater more to those better players who are really good at controlling recoil. It only has a 20-round mag. There's no attachments for it. Its stock is what you get. It has really high damage output, but there's not really much else to it. So if you're a really good player who can, just use it very close range, it can be good for you, but I don't think it's, one of those top tier SMGs, at least right now. So now we'll go ahead and move over to the LMGs. Stoner 63, PKM, and RPD are by far the best in my opinion, especially since the MG82 got its nerf. Still has good damage, but the recoil is crazy with it now. So the your average players are going to struggle a little more with it, whereas the Stoner, PKM, and RPD have very little recoil and pretty good damage output as well as fire rate. Now moving over to the sniper rifles. Probably a little bit of debate about who you talk to as far as the snipers go, whether the K-Swiss or the ZRG is the best. It just kind of depends on what you're using them for. K-Swiss is typically going to be a closer range, quicker aim down sight, better mobility, all that. But you still can use it far away. It's still, better than your average sniper from far away. ZRG is just definitely the king from far away. If you're gonna, camp on top of a building, that's the one you want to go with. Very good bullet velocity, very good range, very good bullet punch. Just, it's the long range, the very, very long range meta, that's for sure. Kar 98K is still very good. That's my favorite sniper. But K-Swiss probably has a little more on it now. But just Kar 98 is still very, very good. And now lastly, moving over to the shotguns. Kind of not really a clear meta for the shotguns, so if you're one who really likes the shotguns, you can kind of pick whatever and go with it. The Street Sweeper got a big nerf in the last season. I have not tested it out myself since then. I still see some people using it. I think it's probably still good, but it's just not the king like it was before. Gallo is very good, but it's single fire and it's only have a 12 shot mag, so it's kind of limited a little bit. But shotgun meta is pretty wide open, so you can kind of use whatever you like, whatever you feel like, and be still pretty successful with it. So before we get into any loadouts, I just wanted to kind of walk you guys through some of the best Modern Warfare guns in case you don't have access to Cold War. I myself don't, so I have to do a lot of leveling up in Plunder. But if you're someone who only wants to use Modern Warfare guns, which they're still good, still can be serviceable, you're gonna want to stick with the AMAX for the ARs. The Ram 7's pretty good for ARs, and so is the Growl. Those are going to be kind of your top three for the Modern Warfare ARs. Modern Warfare SMGs are going to be the MP5. That's pretty much the king right now for Modern Warfare. You could use some of the other ones. They're all pretty similar. They have their advantages, disadvantages, but the MP5 Modern Warfare is still going to be the best. Modern Warfare LMGs, the best one by far is going to be the PKM. Bruin's still very good, but you can even argue that the PKM is going to be the best LMG overall. Moving over to the snipers, Kar 98K, definitely the best by far. Doesn't have as much range as like the HDR, but HDR has kind of been passed over by a lot of the Cold War snipers. So if you still want to use, the long range sniper, HDR is still just fine. It's going to be passed up by a lot of those Cold War ones, but you can still use it. Still fine. As I talked about, the shotgun meta is kind of all over the place. Jack 12 might be making a comeback. Might replace the Street Sweeper just because it's full auto and you can have a large mag size on it. But I wouldn't go too crazy with the shotguns right now, as I kind of talked about earlier. Just nothing really sticks out. All right, so here's going to be my recommendation for the C58 Loadout. Agency Suppressor, Ranger Barrel, 3x sight, Field Agent Grip, and the 55 round mag. Some people will swap out the underbarrel for a rear grip just to increase ADS time. It's kind of personal preference, but I use this as a long range, so I want as manageable as recoil as possible. Now checking out the Pharah, that same last suppressor, Agency Grew suppressor, that's what I'm going to mostly use on my ARs. The Liberator Barrel, 3x scope again for that long range AR meta, 60 round mag, and then on this one, this is where I will change and take off the underbarrel for a grip, just because, as I said earlier, this thing has such manageable recoil. It's really easy to use, so I don't really see a need to put an underbarrel on it. Just slows down your aim down sight time. All right, so now on to the Cold War AK build. This one set up here is a closer range build with a lot of movement speed. I use the suppressor, the last barrel, which is the RPK barrel, Tiger Team Spotlight, the KGB stock, which I know you can't see because of my face right now, but the last stock, and then the 45 round mag. If you want to use a long range build on this, you totally can. I recommend keeping the barrel, swapping out for the Grew suppressor, taking off this spotlight, putting an underbarrel on. I use the Spetsnaz grip. And then if you like the irons, great. If not, I would take off the stock and then add either a 3X or the Microflex LED. You can use that kind of as a longer range build. And be pretty successful with it. Okay, now moving over to the Xm4 Loadout. This is honestly my favorite gun in Warzone right now. It's so versatile. Kind of a similar build to the last AK build that I showed you. The closer range suppressor, the task force barrel, Tiger Team Spotlight, this last stock here, which is the Raider pad, and then the 60 round mag. Very good for movement speed, close range build. But also there's so many different options. You can put a sight on it if you want. I really like the Microflex LED. But if you want to turn it into a long range build, you also have that option as well. So this is going to be your best long range build with the Xm4 here. I kind of have mixed feelings about either of these barrels. You can kind of go either way. I think the Ranger is going to be your best for bullet velocity. Takedown is just, I like the takedown because it doesn't hurt your aim walking movement speed. But you can really go either way, just as long as you're using the agency suppressor, 3x, field agent grip, and that 60 round mag. Very easy to switch it out to like a Microflex LED. You don't get as much range, but this gun, it's just the best in my opinion. My favorite, one of the best for sure. It's just a lot of fun to use. I have a lot of fun moving around with it. And has a good fire rate, good forgiveness, all that. So now we'll go ahead and move to the Cold War MP5. So this is my favorite build right now. Pretty similar to what most bigger players are using. You got the sound suppressor. If you want a little more range, you can put the agency on there. You just lose a little bit of aim down sight time. Tiger Team Spotlight, lots of movement help. Bruiser grip, the 50 round drum mag, and then the drop shot wrap, which helps with your aim down sight. Just very, very quick gun. You move around super quick, very quick ADS. It's definitely the close range meta that you're going to want to use. All right, now moving over to the most broken gun in the game right now, the Milano. Again, if you're just now playing for the first time in a couple seasons, you're probably thinking, what the hell, the Milano sucks. Actually very good. You have a couple different options. This is going to be the AR build that you can use with it, the agency suppressor, Ranger barrel, whatever sight you want. There's an option for a 3x. I prefer the Microflex LED, 55 round drum, and then the field agent grip. If you want to turn it into an SMG, it's not as good just because of its slow fire rate, especially compared to the MP5. But if you want, you totally can. It's going to be a very similar build as the last one. I'd take off the barrel, take off the sight, just because the irons aren't too bad if you're using it close range. I'd put on something like the Bruiser grip, leave the 55 round drum mag on there. Something like the Tiger Team's good. And then if you want to throw a stock on there, throw a rear grip on there, whatever you want. But the Milano, definitely top tier SMG. That you can definitely use with some success. All right, now moving over to the Lmg loadout for the Stoner. All you people who love to spray and pray, lay down covering fire. This is definitely the loadout you're gonna want to use for it. Agency suppressor, match grade barrel, 3x sight. I do the 120 round speed mag, just to get that reload quicker, extra bullets, and the field agent grip. There's not much more to that. It's going to be a long range gun. You can't use this really close range. ADS is a little slow, so if you wanted to, you could switch out the field agent grip for a rear grip, and that might help you a little bit. But it's going to be a pretty standard loadout. So this next one's going to be a little biased. So I don't have the K-Swiss or the ZRG leveled up anywhere close. That's because my favorite is the Kar 98. If I'm sure by now you know the good loadout, but if you don't, monolithic suppressor, the longest barrel, tack laser, sniper scope. I use the focus perk that helps the flinch resistance even more. This gun's pretty broken when you get shot. The gun doesn't really come up at all, so you can shoot through bullet flinch. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Leave me some comments down below about what guns you're using, what guns I missed. I really appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to follow all the different social media platforms, and I will see you on the next one.